In a world where a simple television appearance could spark wild reactions, Elvis Presley's entrance into the living rooms of America was nothing short of electrifying. But here's the twist: those who stayed awake to witness this phenomenon saw something no one else could: Elvis himself. Meanwhile, in a stuffy New York theater, Charles Laughton, a seasoned actor, faced an audience so unmoved by his presence that they neither laughed nor screamed when his name was mentioned. Yet they applauded when he talked about a new Lincoln car. This stark contrast sets the stage for understanding Elvis's explosive arrival. That same year, Elvis was locked into a Hollywood contract, barred from performing live in New York due to his commitments. Instead, he graced the screens of Los Angeles, where fans went wild. This was no ordinary concert. It was a spectacle that showcased Elvis's charisma and talent. His performance of "Don't Be Cruel" had fans leaping and screaming, while "Love Me Tender" saw him experiment with movements that seemed almost military in precision. His energy was palpable, yet there were moments of confusion, like when he abruptly switched to marching movements during "Love Me Tender," as if something had jolted him into action. For his second set, Elvis performed "Ready Teddy," surrounded by musicians, echoing the style of his famous 1968 comeback special. The show featured Gordon Stoker on piano, adding a layer of nostalgia for fans familiar with earlier performances. As the night wound down, Elvis delivered a truncated version of "Hound Dog." It was as if he was under time pressure, though there was no dog in sight, only the electric atmosphere of the crowd. This was not just a concert, it was a demonstration of Elvis's magnetic stage presence and his ability to connect with his audience, even when constraints were placed upon him. His performance was a testament to his growing star power, a power that was already beginning to shape the music world and beyond. Elvis's rise to fame was not without its challenges and controversies. Even before his prime, his image faced criticism. The Times of the Times reported in September 1956 that many viewers disliked his first TV appearances, predicting doubts about his future on screen. A police officer from California even joked that if Elvis performed such antics on the street, he'd be arrested. But this was the era of rock and roll, where the unconventional was celebrated, even if it meant bending the rules. Colonel Parker, Elvis's manager, played a pivotal role in navigating these waters. He understood the power of Elvis's image and the need to control it. When Elvis joked about the newspaper clippings that mocked him, Parker knew it was a mix of humor and hurt. Elvis laughed it off, but the sting was real. Parker, however, used these moments to shape Elvis's public persona, crafting a narrative that would make the king unbeatable. Elvis's iconic gold lame suit, while worn sparingly due to discomfort, became a symbol of his evolving style. He favored a jacket with dark trousers, a look that balanced his flamboyant image with a sense of ease. His music continued to dominate charts and airwaves. "Love Me Tender," released in late 1956, became a monumental hit, debuting at #1 on the Billboard chart and propelling Elvis to unprecedented stardom. The song's success was matched only by the frenzy it created among fans and the media alike. As Elvis's fame grew, so did the scrutiny and the marketing strategies aimed at capitalizing on his image. Colonel Parker saw fan clubs not just as groups of devoted followers, but as revenue streams. He enlisted Hank Saperstein to manage these clubs, transforming them into money-making machines. Fans could buy everything from T-shirts to badges, all emblazoned with Elvis's image, turning them into unwitting ambassadors of the king's brand. Elvis's hair, once a natural sandy color, was dyed jet black at the suggestion of his idol, Tony Curtis. This change was more than just a style shift. It was a strategic move to align with the image of the cool, sophisticated rock star. Despite the marketing machine, Elvis's personal life remained a topic of fascination and speculation. His relationships were constantly under the microscope, with magazines like Confidential often blurring the lines between fact and fiction. Yet, unlike some of his peers, Elvis faced relatively little discrediting in the press, a testament to his enduring charm and the public's willingness to overlook his flaws. Elvis's journey from a small-town boy to a global icon was marked by both triumph and controversy. His early TV appearances, marked by both brilliance and awkwardness, set the stage for a career that would redefine popular culture. As he stood before his first national audience, Elvis was not just performing, he was launching a cultural phenomenon that would echo through generations. Elvis Presley, Carl Perkins, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Johnny Cash, four names that define rock and roll. But what if these musical legends had a giant jam session? That's the idea behind the $1 Million Quartet, a show that brings their legendary 1956 session to life. This musical tells a story that's part fact, part fantasy, and all excitement. In 1956, Elvis, Carl, Jerry Lee, and Johnny got together at Sun Studios. It was a day that could have changed rock and roll history. However, things didn't quite go as planned. The session wasn't recorded by Sam Phillips, the man who discovered Elvis. Instead, Jack Clement, a friend of Sam's, captured the magic on tape. The music was fantastic, but it wasn't perfect. Some parts were not on mic, and the sound could have been better. Fast forward to 2008, and the $1 Million Quartet makes its debut in Chicago. This musical imagines what would have happened if those four musicians had a massive jam session. It's a fun show, but it takes some liberties with history. The show runs for over an hour and a half without a break, and it's packed with 50s hits. The audience loves it, especially the older folks who remember the real legends. The show focuses a lot on Jerry Lee Lewis. He's played by Ben Goddard, who brings a comedic take to the role. Jerry Lee is funny, but sometimes his character feels more like a cartoon than the real person. He gets into silly situations like chasing young girls, which might not be how things really were. Despite this, his performance of Real Wild Child and Great Balls of Fire gets the crowd roaring. Carl Perkins, played by Oliver Seymour Marsh, is another highlight. He plays the guitar brilliantly and seems to enjoy being on stage. However, the script doesn't always do him justice. It's hard to believe Carl would be upset about Elvis playing blue suede shoes, since he would have benefited from the song's success. This little detail shows how the script sometimes strays from reality. Johnny Cash, portrayed by Derek Hogan, is a bit of a mystery in the show. Cash was a country star who had his own struggles with Sam Phillips. The play makes him seem like he's hiding a secret, which adds drama. Hogan does a great job capturing Cash's voice and performance, especially when he sings Folsom Prison Blues and I Walk the Line. Elvis, played by Michael Malarkey, is the star of the show, but he doesn't always feel like the real Elvis. He looks like Elvis and sings his hits, but he lacks the charisma that made the real Elvis so special. Tim Whitnall, who played Elvis in an earlier production, did a much better job capturing Elvis's essence. One of the best moments in the show is when the actors recreate the famous photograph of the four legends together. The actors freeze as a picture is taken, and the audience applauds. It's a touching moment that captures the magic of that day. However, if you look closely at the uncropped photo, you'll see a girl sitting on the piano. She's Elvis' girlfriend, Marilyn Evans, but the show changes her name to Diane. This small detail shows how the show takes creative liberties to enhance the story. The musical also includes supporting characters like Marilyn Evans, played by Francesca Jackson, and the musicians Jez Gerard and Alex Yates. These characters add depth to the story, even if some parts of their roles are minor. The $1 Million Quartet is more than just a reenactment, it's a celebration of rock and roll's birth. The show writer Colin Escott and his co-author Floyd Muttrux aim to explore the relationships between the musicians and Sam Phillips. They want to capture the spirit of a time when music was changing the world. While the show isn't always strict about the facts, it succeeds in bringing the excitement and energy of that legendary day to life. In the end, the $1 Million Quartet is a fun and entertaining show that makes you wish you could have been there when rock and roll was born. Even if some parts stretch the truth, the music and the spirit of the moment are undeniable. It's a tribute to the legends who shaped a genre and an era, and it keeps their memory alive for new generations to enjoy. Life for Carl Perkins was never easy. Growing up in a poor family in Tennessee, he and his brothers were picking cotton by the time they were just kids. Their lives were hard and filled with struggles. Carl's brother Clayton was often beaten by their father for small mistakes. Carl himself had health problems from illnesses as a young boy, which made his life even tougher. Despite these hardships, music became their escape and their passion. Carl Perkins wrote songs that told stories from his life. In Dixie Fried, he sang about a fierce bar fight, drawing from real experiences. Another song, Movie Mag, was about a date on horseback, showing how he used his own life for inspiration. However, writing songs was not always easy. Clayton, the wildest of the brothers, often caused trouble. He joined the Marines at just 14, but got sent back home when they found out about his age. His reckless behavior continued, even leading to self-harm after a bad injury, which he treated with whiskey. The Perkins brothers formed a band which included Carl on lead guitar, Jay on rhythm guitar, and Clayton on the stand-up bass. Though Clayton wasn't very skilled, his aggressive playing gave the band a unique edge. Sam Phillips, the owner of Sun Records, recognized Carl's talent but saw that the band's style wasn't perfect for teenage fans. Still, with the help of Jay's steady influence, they kept going. In 1956, life took a dramatic turn. A car accident left Carl with a fractured skull and broken shoulder, and the others badly hurt too, but they bounced back quickly. Carl came back to perform just a month later, announcing he was expecting a baby. His song Honey Don't became a big hit, thanks in part to Elvis Presley covering it. However, the band's internal tensions kept growing. Sam Phillips, noticing Carl's struggle, brought in Jerry Lee Lewis to help. Jerry Lee was young, talented, and full of himself. His fiery piano playing was meant to give Carl's rockabilly sound a new commercial edge. Together, they worked on a song called Your True Love. While Carl was nervous, Jerry Lee was confident, even criticizing the song as not being worth much. But when they added Buck Perkins, Carl's father, the session became lively. An unexpected visitor arrived just as they were finishing up, Elvis Presley. It had been a while since Carl last saw Elvis, who was now a superstar, starring in the movie Love Me Tender. Elvis had just come back from a trip to Las Vegas with a showgirl. His presence added another layer of excitement and pressure to the session. On that fateful day in December 1956, the atmosphere at Sun Records was electric. Carl Perkins had a new song, Matchbox, inspired by an old Blind Lemon Jefferson track. The session began with Carl, Jerry Lee Lewis, and Buck Perkins working together. Carl was still getting used to Jerry Lee's confident style, which sometimes clashed with Clayton's more laid-back approach. They started with Your True Love. Carl sang, but Jerry Lee thought the song didn't have much to offer. Despite this, when they added Buck's vocals, the song came alive. Sam Phillips was thrilled, saying, "That's a smash, it sounds like the South is gonna fight the North again." This meant the song had a strong, distinctive sound that could appeal to many listeners. Next, they tackled Matchbox. The original song by Blind Lemon Jefferson was from 1927, a time long before rock and roll. Carl remembered the song from his childhood, and the group decided to give it their own spin. Carl took the lead on the vocals, with Jerry Lee adding a boogie riff on the piano. The song was rough but full of energy. After a break, fueled by whiskey, Carl completed the lyrics and recorded 2 takes. Sam Phillips was over the moon. "That's a smash," he exclaimed. He believed the song captured the clash between the South and the North, a theme that resonated deeply. The raw energy and unique blend of styles made Matchbox a standout track. It was clear this song had the potential to be a huge hit. Just as they were finishing up, Elvis Presley walked in. It had been a while since Carl last saw him, and Elvis looked different. His hair was now jet black, and he was a major star, just released from filming Love Me Tender. Elvis had brought a showgirl, Marilyn Evans, with him, adding a touch of glamour to the scene. Elvis's arrival brought both excitement and a bit of tension. The session was already charged with creativity and competition, especially between Carl and Jerry Lee. Elvis's presence made everyone aware of the big league they were in. Though the session ended without further recordings that day, the energy and creativity of that moment at Sun Records would be remembered for years to come. It was a day when dreams met reality, and the future of rock and roll seemed brighter than ever.